Estonia, number 616, and Mario Wendler, number 650, are the drivers on the third row of the grid, also Estonian. It's an all-Estonian third row. On row 4, we've got Andreas Bachmann from Sweden and Pascal Marchal, the driver from Germany. On row 5, we've got Chris Sturken and Alex Beji. On row 6, Sasha Pio Haider and Harolds Garkaklis. Harolds, one of the drivers from Eastern Europe, from Latvia. And then Jano Thuising and Erwin Montfort on row 7. On row 8, Alexis Corso and Igor Mukin. Now, Igor is the best placed on the grid of the Masters drivers, the Russian. And as Ken was saying, last year, didn't start off the year so well, the first couple of rounds. But by rounds 3 and 4, the second half of the season, Igor was really coming on. And he's looked pretty handy here so far. And could well be a threat for the overall Masters victory, and certainly for the podium. So Igor Mukin is up there. We had not a great race with Tamsin Germain in the earlier race. This might open up the door for Igor. Chris Groen, also a Masters driver, and Anna Lisa Dreespring on row 9. On row 10, we've got Marcel Steinert and Luke van Rensburg from South Africa, Maxim Shaboshnikov and Maxi Fleischmann on row 11. On row 12, Matthias Baumeister and Mark Berteau. Row 13, Carol Franson and Nicholas Olsen. And alone on row 14, Martins Steinert. So that is how they are going to line up for race 6. This is the second adventure on circuit for the DD2 class. They'll be out again this afternoon, and 2 more senior races to come after this before we take a short lunch break. So they have a warm-up lap and a formation lap. They have 2 out laps before they'll have, hopefully, a first-time start, a rolling start for these karts. And you can see them there just spread out a little bit at the moment on the screen, but the front row men, and particularly Zenderu, the pole position man, will just start to bunch them back together a little bit now and slow up the pace. But they're just getting a bit of heat through the tyres and the brakes with a blast on the first lap also. And now, with half a lap remaining, Zenderuva does begin to slow them up. So you'll see him in a moment. You can't miss Zenderuva, can you, Ken, with that bright turquoise race suit?
Yeah, turquoise doesn't seem a very manly colour, does it? I've heard it even called aquamarine, which is perhaps even more girly. But hey, he races like a guy and races as strong as... Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. No reason why the girls shouldn't go as quickly. But you know what I'm saying. He's definitely a guy who does his statements on the track. Well, he's made a statement to qualify to start this one on pole position. He'll be joined on the front row by Sandro Lukovic. Sandro Lukovic from Austria, been with us for 7 seasons in total, I think. Englishman and a Scotsman on row 2, Barry Pullinger and Sean Slavin. An all-Estonian row 3, Antti Ramo and Mario Wendler. Mario Wendler, a former world number 2 in Rotax. Andreas Bachmann and Pascal Marskal, row 4. And the top 10 completed by the Dutchman Chris Sturken and the Italian Alex Beji. A 10-lap race for DD2s in groups C and D. Hope you're enjoying yourselves here at Karting Genk. Hope you're enjoying yourselves if you're tuned in online somewhere else in the world. And that is an aborted start, and I feel a little bit sorry for Zenderuva on pole position, who really did try to bring everybody in steadily and level, but got a little nudge for his pains, and it didn't work out that way.
Well, I think the issue is more just behind that, because on the third row of the grid, Mario Wendler, number 650, had his rear wheels in the air, because underneath him was the front nose cone of Pascal Marchal, number 643, and he literally clean lifted off the ground, off the tarmac, Mario Wendler's rear wheels. So he was at a very odd angle, and that, of course, held up the entire side of the field from row 3 downwards. And well done to the start line official there, because he spotted that. It wasn't long before they were about to press the lights off, just a second or so, but he spotted it, and that, I think, is why he's sent them round again. Zenderuva head scratched a little bit there and wonder what he did wrong.
What did I do wrong?
Yeah, which was nothing really, was it?
Well, I just agree with you 100% what you've just said. I was thinking to myself, well done the start marshal there. That was eagle-eyed, and I don't know what eagle-fingered would be. What's the quickest you can say with the finger? Eagle-eyed, eagle-clawed, if you like, because that certainly was a justified aborted start, in fairness to everyone. Okay, we try again. The DD2s with race numbers beginning with a 6. The DD2 Masters with race numbers beginning with a 7. We've got Andreas Bachmann in a brother and sister team. We've got Annalisa Dreispring in a brother and sister team. We've got Luke van Rensburg in a father and son team. But right now, it's every man and girl for themselves. Not so level. This doesn't look good. Well, that is a start as I see it, because we've not got the amber lights, but that was not terribly... And Chris has seen who the people were in the shunt. Yes?
Yeah, there was a big spin just behind. It was 616 Anti-Ramo in the blue and white cart. He span, and then 2 carts collected him, and one went up on 2 wheels and nearly tipped over. Let's have a look at the...
Well, Anti-Ramo starting on the inside of the 3rd row must have affected several other front runners with that spin, Chris, and that's the reason why they're spread out just about the full length of the freeway straight. In fact, the freeway straight and more. Zenderuva's comfortably clear. Barry Pullinger's got a good start. I think I see Sean Slavin in there in 4th place.
Harold Skarkaklis and Andreas Bachmann were the 2 that got caught up in that.
They were the ones that
and Andreas
were the
Bachmann,
victims.
you'll see, has got a very dented side pod.
Oh dear, and he's been going well. Very unfortunate. Okay, coming round towards the end of the opening lap. 650 Mario Wendler looking a little bit interested in making a passing move, but Zenderuva dips his head and gets 0.479 of a second over the Flying Scotsman Sean Slavin. Sandro Lukovic was going well, but it is Mario Wendler who catches the eye as a potential pass. He's in 4th place at the moment. I'm just going to stay with those guys. Looks to me as if the initial error, if you'll call it that, or the initial opportunity, half a gap that was presented by Sandro Lukovic has actually been closed. Not quite sure how much of that you saw on screen. We do get very good pictures on RGMMC TV. Sometimes, though, it can be a little bit foreshortened. And definitely the potential move by Mario Wendler is not now a potential move. There's a length and a half between himself in 4th and Sandro Lukovic in 3rd as we come to the end of lap 2.
Barry Pullinger's one that's got caught up a bit, isn't he, in the bright blue race suit number 631 from the 2nd row of the grid. He's down to 7th place at the moment, but he's looking like he's going to wind things up now. He's right on the tail of Begier as they go over the start-finish line. Through your shot there, you saw the top 2, and you saw the gap coming down through turn 1 into turn 2 they go. A big, wide, sweeping hairpin, and then through turn 5 into turn 6, the hairpin. This is where they can really hit the brakes late and hard. The gap comes down. Zenderuva leads the way. Sean Slavin is the driver in 2nd place. 3rd is Sandro Lukovic. 4th, then we've got Mario Wendler. 5th, we've got the 643 card of Pascal Marchal, and 6th is Begier.
Who got very sideways as you called his name, Chris. He's not lost any distance as a result of that, but suddenly on a 4-wheel broadside. Not quite sure what gave rise to that.
Zenderuva controlling things here. Won the Winter Cup a few weeks ago. Won the pre-final here last year, so he's on the pace. 3rd overall in the championship. Race winner overall at Wackersdorf in Germany. Head down. Just try and improve the airflow over the karts. It does make a difference, and every single half a tenth of a second that you can gain, as we saw in qualifying, can make a huge difference with the racing so close. 0.2 of a second the difference between the top 2. They run through turn 5, and you'll see them coming into turn 6. The right-hand hairpin now. Here they come. The gap about the same. Catching them, though, maybe in 3rd place a little bit is Lukovic. They're all on the same pace on the previous lap. And the top 3 all into the high 54s now. Everybody else behind them in the 55-second bracket, Ken.
Well, Sandro Lukovic, as you said, is definitely with the front 2 in terms of time, and he has shaken off completely the potential for a challenge from Mario Wendler. But of course, Sandro Lukovic starts with the disadvantage of being, what, a dozen lengths behind Zenderuva in the lead and about 8 lengths behind Sean Slavin in 2nd place. Maybe a little less than that, actually, as we look. This is the start of lap 5. So 4 gone and 5 to go, and 0.9 of a second covering those top 3. Just looking a little bit further down the field, some surprises in the Masters. Chris Grön was leading the Masters on the previous lap, but Marc Berteau has now overtaken him. Well, with every respect, I wouldn't have seen Chris Grön as a potential winner of the Masters. Marc Berteau perhaps not either, but they're 1 and 2 at the moment, with Igor Mukin 15th overall but 3rd in the Masters. We're approaching the half race distance.
And watch for Anti-Ramo, who had that half spin and caused a bit of carnage just behind at turn 1 early in the race. He's in cart 616. He's got back up to 12th place now. He was 13th at the start of the lap. He pulled off a lovely move into turn 1 to get ahead of Chris Groen, and he's up to 12th place, and he's quick. His fastest lap was a 54.9, so he's almost as quick as the race leaders now, and he's stuck in traffic. So I think more progress to be made there. The leader pulling away as he starts the 6th lap of the race now. We're at half distance. First, second and third covered by less than a second. It is Zenderuva from Sean Slavin, from Sandro Lukovic. A Belgian driver, a British driver, and then an Austrian, all in the top 3. They've edged away now from the 650 card of Mario Wendler in 4th place. Barry Pullinger has come back up to 5th place now.
Yes, and Chris Sturken went with him. It was a little bit of a bad moment there for, I think, Beji not going so well, or maybe Pascal Marshall. Maybe I misread that, Marshall. But certainly a good move by Barry Pullinger, and Chris Sturken going with him as well when it happened.
Just to say as well, we lost right at the start of the race, or even before the start, actually, on the second formation lap. Martin Steinert's number 61, who pulled off the circuit with some kind of issue, which has clearly been plaguing him this weekend. He actually got disqualified from one of quite a few drivers who got disqualified for an airbox infringement in qualifying. But the rest of the field still going. Top 3 go through.
Barry Pullinger, a new fastest lap, Chris.
Yeah, and going for 4th place. He's done it down the inside of turn 1, so he gets 4th place away now. And just about makes the move stick. Good move on Wendler. Wendler tried to fight back, but wasn't able to do so on the way out of the corner. There you go. Barry Pullinger, the blue racer, going through your shot now through the hairpin. Here into turn 7 come the top 3. And there, in 4th place, is Barry Pullinger.
Just looking further down the field, Martin Steinertz is the only driver that we've lost. The lady in the race, Annalisa Dreispring, a little bit off the pace, I'm afraid. The German lady running in 25th place, and is very nearly half a minute off the lead. Harold Gokaklis is the big surprise. He's running 20th of the 26 starters. Harold Gokaklis, who left, let me see, a couple of our races in 2012 with trophies. Certainly not showing trophy form here in 20th place in kart 609.
Yeah, he got caught up. He and Andreas Batman got caught up in that contact when Ramo had the spin, the slight spin.
You did call it, Chris, and I was overlooking that, yeah.
I think Marshall and Beji have just changed places for 7th and 8th.
Yeah, and Sandro Lukovic turning on the heat as well. 54.187, a new fastest lap, and lap 7. So Sandro Lukovic, who has not really pulled in Sean Slavin second and Zenderuva in the lead, but nevertheless has got a fair turn of pace. 54.167 is not hanging about. And Sandro Lukovic, who has raced with us on a very regular basis in the past, making a very welcome return to RGMMC racing, and a quite successful one in this race.
Marc Berthaud from France leads the Masters category. He's in 12th place now. 13th is number 735, Chris Groen. So those are the top 2 in Masters, and they're on a very similar lap time as well, very similar pace. So they're tied together. 3rd is Igor Mukin, the Russian driver, in that category. So the Masters running 12th, 13th and 14th. Just under 2 laps of the race to go now. The race leader, Zenderuva, 0.6 of a second clear. And here he comes into turn 7, looking pretty comfortable. Sean Slavin's on a similar pace. Sandro Lukovic, fastest lap of the race again with a 54.167 in 3rd place, but he is only fractions, less than 1/10 of a second quicker than Slavin. And Barry Pullinger now pulled away from the chasing pack, and he's kind of on his own in 4th place. Sturken is 5th, Wendler is 6th, Beji, Marshall, Olsen and Fleischmann running out the top 10. Ramos back up to 11th.
Yeah, just looking at that Masters race, if you do have an interest, as Chris Hartley's just said, they were running 1, 2 and 3 in that order on the track. 12th, 13th and 14th. 732 Marc Berthaud got the advantage. The Frenchman over the Dutchman. 735 Chris Groen. And the Russian in 3rd place. Now they've just completed another lap, and Marc Berthaud's pulled away a little bit from them, because Marc Berthaud still holds on to the lead in Masters, and well, a very, very clear advantage that is pulled out. But we're on lap 10 of 10, so let's give Chris free rein to call these guys home.
Yeah, well, it looks pretty settled, actually. Of all the races that we've had so far today, there haven't been too many where you look nailed on for the top 3, but this is one of them. And a really good, strong drive here from Zenderuva. We look forward to seeing what he can do against the likes of Dettige and Laiho and Babington later in the weekend. But it's been a fairly straightforward drive for him. It's never easy, but he's made it look fairly straightforward. And Zenderuva rounds the final corner now and crosses the line, takes the checkered flag. Zenderuva wins his first race of the weekend, and a good drive as well from Sean Slavin. He was third in the Winter Cup at the start of the year, so we know he's got good form, and the British driver second here, just half a second behind Zenderuva, and for most of the race it was closer than that. Third, and with the fastest lap of the race, Sandro Lukovic from Austria. Barry Pullinger, who dropped down on the first lap, recovered well up to fourth place in the end, which is just behind where he started. He started third, but I think he was 8th or 9th at the end of lap 1. And then in 5th place, the 645 kart driven by Chris Sturken from Holland. 6th place went to Mario Wendler, the Estonian. And then in 7th place, we had Alex Beggi from Italy. So the cars on there slowing down lap. There you can see that this is where they turn off the circuit and head back into Parc Fermé with the race control building, and they're just going underneath us now, and largely an incident-free race. That the only big moment really was when Antti Ramo, whether it was through his own doing or he got a slight tap, I didn't see, but I did see the car absolutely broad-siding in the way into turn 1, and as he tried to recover, poor old Andreas Batman was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so too was Harold Garkaklis, who was in the top 10 in the championship last year. They then tangled with each other, just a racing incident, and a huge dent in the side of Andreas Batman's kart. I can't remember if it was Batman or Garkaklis, but one of them went right up in the air. You wouldn't have seen it on the cameras, and almost tipped over. But thankfully landed the right way up, and they did finish the race. There's the results on screen for you. And just to talk you through the rest of the top 10, Alex Beggi, 7th for Italy. Pascal Marshall, the German driver, in 8th. Niklas Olsen from Denmark in 9th place. Maxi Fleischmann coming in 10th place. A good drive that from Maxi Fleischmann, because he started back in 21st position, so 11 places gained. Antti Ramo recovering somewhat, back up to 11th place. Marc Berthaud from France was 12th, and the winner of the Masters class, Jano Thuising, Marcel Steinert, 13th and 14th. Alexis Corso, Luc Ramvansberg and Andreas Bachmann, 15th, 16th and 17th. And then in 18th place was Karel Fransen from Belgium. Harold Garkaklis, he's quicker than that, but he got caught up in that incident, so he only 19th in the end, the Hungarian. Sashapio Haida, not Hungarian, I should say. Harold Garkaklis there in 19th place in the 609 car, Latvian. The Latvian 19th. Sashapio Haida, the German, 20th. And then Erwin Montfort, Igor Mukin, not going quite as well as we expected, and finishing outside of the top 20.